I am Rachel, and this is a tale I never imagined I would share. I am 42 years old, 5 years since the divorce, marketing director at an innovative tech startup that embraces a youthful mindset. I find myself no longer in the bloom of youth, at the very least not in the manner they desire women to be. Yet, when Liam stepped into my office on that inaugural day, at just 23 radiating brilliance, freshly armed with his honors degree, he appeared anything but daunted. He held his gaze steady and spoke with clarity. He gazed into my eyes. I wasn't in a position of authority over him, as if I were a woman. There's an intriguing quality to that. It lingered in my mind. Initially, I reassured myself that it was insignificant. He exhibited a profound sense of respect. Intelligent. He posed inquiries, remained until the evening, demonstrated proactive engagement. However, after a fortnight of his early arrivals, extended hours, and a consistent preference for the desk nearest to mine, I began to observe certain details. His slight inclination towards her, a touch more intimate than required. His gaze held steady as I slipped off my blazer, and the manner in which I refrained from urging him to cease. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the last of the crowd trickled out, we found ourselves immersed in the task of reviewing pitch decks. He bent close, one hand resting on the back of my chair, the other poised over the mouse. His breath brushed against the side of my neck. A chill ran through me. He stood still, caught in a moment of disbelief, then murmured, "Apologies." And I murmured in reply, "Don't be." I have always adhered to a particular rule. When collaborating with male interns, ensure the door remains ajar. Forever. There will be no exceptions. Yet, I've come to realize that rules hold little weight when the clamor of loneliness drowns out reason. On that Friday, we lingered once more into the evening. All others had departed for the day. I lingered at the threshold, fingers poised on the doorknob, prepared to keep the office ajar. Instead, I shut it. Gentle click. Silence prevails. Merely a decision. And in that instant I realized this had transcended mentorship. It was transforming into something entirely different. Silence enveloped him. We inched a bit closer as we examined the designs. As he extended the pen towards me, his fingers lightly grazed against mine. I remained steadfast. Not at the moment he drew closer. Not when his hand lingered softly on the small of my back. And not when his lips nearly, but just barely, brushed against my skin. Our lips never met. That night was different. Yet we have traversed a boundary. Upon returning home, I found it impossible to gaze into the mirror without confronting the image of the woman who had just shut the door. In her office, and on all the conviction she held about her own identity, the annual team retreat took place at a hidden resort, nestled 3 hours away from the bustling city. Engaging sessions, team-building activities, joyful gatherings. A semblance of tranquility that only heightens your awareness of the emotions you're striving to ignore. Later that evening, once dinner had concluded, I lingered to wrap up the campaign deck. Liam remained as well. "The silence envelopes us," he remarked. "I find it quite appealing." We filled our glasses with wine. Laptops were opened. "Take a seat nearby." Uncomfortably near. "Have you ever pondered," he mused, "how things might have unfolded had our paths crossed in another time or place?" I hesitated, attempted to brush it aside with humor. Yet I found myself unable to do so, for I had pondered excessive occurrences. Then he spoke, a hint of shyness in his voice. "You make me forget how young I am." And I remarked, "You have a way of making me lose track of my age." It unfolded unexpectedly. No moment truly exists. Yet, in some inexplicable way, we found ourselves on the sofa. A single bottle. 2 weary souls. A stillness that yearned for disruption. He pressed his lips against mine. Slow and steady. "I have no appetite." Gentle. Inquisitive. As if he were inquiring with his lips. And I responded in kind. We never quite reached the bed. There was no necessity for that. It was that night on that couch that I finally let go of the facade and allow myself to experience. On the ensuing Monday, Liam made the decision to resign. No elaboration needed. Merely a message. "I appreciate the chance you've given me. I have chosen to embark on a different journey." My gaze lingered on the screen, time slipping away unnoticed. Calmness prevails. There is no resolution, only stillness. Time slipped by week after week. I endeavored to immerse myself in my tasks. I attempted to erase the memory of his fingers brushing against my skin. I attempted to erase the echo of the noise I produced as I surrendered to the descent. Yet, nothing seemed to make a difference. It was an ordinary afternoon for months later, amidst a company-wide presentation, that I caught sight of him once more. A different suit. A fresh venture. Identical grin. And who stands beside him? Lena, the daughter of the CEO. She grasped his arm with a possessive confidence. He appeared joyful. Or perhaps merely skilled at feigning. Yet, in that moment our gazes locked from opposite ends of the space. And in that brief moment, that ephemeral instant, his smile faded away. And I beheld it. The burden of unspoken words. The endeavor we embarked upon, yet left incomplete. The door I shut, and was unable to reopen. That evening, I returned to my solitude. Once more. Yet, a transformation had taken root within me. Loneliness had ceased to be my companion. I was conscious of it, of what I had savored, of what I had lost, of what I remained able to sense. I have not laid eyes on him since that day. Not face to face. Yet, in those hushed moments when the office is still and the sun dips below the horizon, I could almost swear I sense his presence lingering just behind me. The sound of his breath. Those hands of his. His voice echoed softly, "Don't be sorry." And I shut my eyes, and recall the moment I closed the door, and unveiled all that remained.